Hi, I'm Norm Abram. Welcome to the new Yankee Workshop.
The new Yankee Workshop series ended in 2009 after 21 seasons, to the dismay of its loyal viewers, as it had become a credible source of information on anything pertaining to woodworking. The Emmy award-winning show featured Norm Abram, who easily charmed his way into the hearts of people, inspiring them to pick up their tools and build something. The official website of that much-loved show remains accessible online, and devoted followers can still see the master carpenter and woodworker extraordinaire in PBS's This Old House series. Norman L. Abram was born on the 3rd of October 1949 in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, USA, and grew up in Milford, Massachusetts. He may have been destined to become a carpenter, as his father was one. When he was around 7, he received his first toolkit, a handy-andy tool set, as a Christmas gift. He was 9 when his father took him to a job site on Christmas Eve, and he helped install hardwood flooring. He recalled playing with wood pieces for hours in their basement, using his imagination, and from when he was 15, he spent his summers and school vacations working under his father for a construction company, where the latter was employed. Learning all the basic skills and working his way up, Norm was hooked right from the very beginning. As he said, "I just love the fact of the sight, the smell of the wood, and the day you can go there and take a pile of lumber and start building a house." Seeing the progress they made was very rewarding. He was studying towards a mechanical engineering degree for 2 years, then switched to business administration at the University of Massachusetts. But in his 5th year at college, he quit school and took a carpentry job. He worked for a Boston-based construction company that was building condominiums and was swiftly promoted to site supervisor, but was soon slated for another promotion that would take him off the job site and into an office. So he left to open his own firm. Home improvement shows may be prevalent on television today, but This Old House was one of the first series, if not the first in the genre, when it premiered in 1979 on WGBH-TV, a Boston PBS station. In 1976, Norm had established Integrated Structures, Incorporated, a general contracting firm, and one of his clients was Russell Morash, producer and director of Julia Child's cooking show of 1963, called The French Chef. Russell hired Norm to construct a small structure on his suburban Boston property that was part garage, part garden shed, and part woodworking shop. He was impressed with Norm's work and the fact that he had a small scrap pile, so wanted him to be part of the show he was creating. Norm had no idea what he was really getting into when Russell invited him by saying, "Come and look at this project with me and see what you think." This project was the rehabilitation of a Victorian house in a Dorchester neighborhood, and the first one for This Old House. A film crew was recording the process, and Norm thought he was just going to be in the background doing carpentry work. He was even hoping that his family would catch a glimpse of him on TV. However, before he knew it, the host of the show, Bob Villa, was asking him questions, and he was right in front of the camera. The show's main focus was on the work being done, so attention was paid to Norm as the master carpenter and other professionals. It was Russell who had him wear a plaid shirt that became his signature look. The whole project was aired for 13 episodes, and the place was then sold through a public TV auction, with the producer saying, "Well, you know, this worked out pretty well. We broke even and showed some people how to do things, and maybe we'll do this again." 5 months later, Norm received a call to do another project and never looked back. The appeal of the show came from having real people doing real work, with the message that one didn't have to buy a new home to be happy, as one only needed the right tools and a little ingenuity to update what they already had. The show has since become a cultural icon, with its producer Russell Morash earning the title Father of How To. Norm said, "People dream about how good they can make their house, and then they do the best they can with what they can afford." There were some misgivings on the part of building contractors at first that the show was giving away too many trade secrets. They could lose potential business, as homeowners could do the work themselves, having the show as their guide, instead of hiring skilled workers to do it. However, there were always people who would prefer to have others, professionals, do the work. What this show actually did was to teach people to appreciate the value of the trades. Knowing the skills, time, and manpower required to do a job well would help them communicate better with their contractors. This Old House became so successful that it spawned the spin-off series The New Yankee Workshop, which premiered on the 7th of January 1989. Russell believed that the viewing public would also be interested in woodworking, and thought of no one else whom he could cast in the series but Norm, as the latter was compelling, skilled, and credible. He further said, "I never thought he couldn't do something. In his very quiet way, he would figure it out." Norm became the host as well as the furniture maker. Along with Russell and his wife, Marion Morash, he scoured for pieces in the area where this old house was filming, and then would decide what to feature in the show. He wanted every project tackled to be something that would inspire people, as well as provide a challenge for woodworkers. Norm said that the word Yankee in the series name stood for quality craftsmanship, while new indicated his desire to show new materials and applications. The show was all about constructing old things using modern tools, so he tackled a variety of projects from simple to complicated, be it functional or decorative. For the first episode of the show, Norm constructed a medicine cabinet, based on one that he had seen in a retiring room or bedroom at the Hancock Shaker Village in Pittsfield, Massachusetts. It had shelves inside with a nice overhang. Back at the shop, he used oak plywood and red oak with box joint joinery, and incorporated his own design that included a mirror on the front and adjustable glass shelves inside. The product was relatively small, as the dimensions for the cabinet were 26 inches high, 22 inches wide, and 7 inches deep. Conversely, the old Schwab mill in Arlington Heights was built in 1860, and in 1864 it was bought by German immigrant woodworkers Charles and Frederick Schwab. The two built a business out of making oval picture frames that were ideal for displaying photos of Civil War soldiers. Norm visited the place and spotted a quarter-sawn oak roll-top desk with cubby holes, secret compartments, and drawers used to organize paperwork, stamps, and pens. The roll-top came with a key to secure the contents of the desk. It was owned by Charles, but built by his brother Theodore in 1893. The desk inspired Norm to construct his own version, using white oak with 3 coats of polyurethane for its finish, with the whole process being filmed and featured in 2 episodes of the show in season 10. Aired in 1998, Norm was on the island of Nantucket for the 10th anniversary of the show, where he visited the antique shop Celtic Pine that had country pieces from Ireland, and was drawn to an antique pine table. The 36-inch diameter table with 4 tapered legs and mortise and tenon joinery on the rails was for sale at $700. In his version, he used antique pine from floorboards salvaged from an attic for the top, old thick planks for the legs, and other salvaged timber for the rails that would support the top and join the legs together. Norm even went as far as the Great Salt Lake in Utah to see how workers dismantled the wooden trestle on the deeper end of the lake that was part of the Transcontinental Railway. He checked out the 3 feet by 12 feet redwood used for the deck, and which was still in good condition. Subsequently, the people of Salt Lake City sent him several timbers so that he could build something with a piece of history in it. After cutting out the defects, he was left with various sizes of wood and was able to construct an outdoor chaise longue. It had a full reclining position with a backrest that could be in an inclined position. He even included redwood wheels to move it around. The show wasn't filmed in a specially constructed TV studio, but was actually filmed in the backyard of Russell's 1851 Massachusetts farmhouse. Norm adapted and expanded a structure he'd built for the producer and turned it into a fully functioning woodworking shop. It was shaped like a sandbox, measuring 36 feet by 26 feet, with skylights. There were no strategically placed cameras hidden behind a wall, and no missing walls. So without lights hanging from the 16-foot-high ceiling, no one would know that a TV show was being filmed there. The finishing was done in another room, and the lumber was stored in a different building. Norm's only complaint was that the concrete floor was hard on his feet after a long day of work. The show's iconic sign was behind the property, so the famous workshop was well hidden. Contrary to some suspicions, it was Norm who built each project from start to finish, and no one else. But he did have a shop assistant who cleaned the workshop, kept the machines well tuned and the tools sharp. He would look for furniture that he was interested in building, took photos, noted down its dimensions, and then created sketches. Norm built a prototype first, saying, "I could have other people do it for me, but it wouldn't be the same. I've got to figure out how to do it," and then recreated it in front of the camera from scratch. He rarely made mistakes, but one time he botched a piece of wood that he was using for a butler's table. The staff then put it on display on a wall at the shop, as a reminder that Norm wasn't infallible. Only one guy was filming him as he worked on the project and explained what he was doing. There was no script. Norm said that he'd been a carpenter for so long that he's used to people watching him work, so he didn't mind being filmed. It only took 1 or 2 days to complete each shoot. As per PBS guidelines, all manufacturer names of the tools and machines that Norm used were covered with stickers, as the goal was to create a generic shop. Only those who were familiar with the items would recognize them. A lot of manufacturers gave items that one would need in a woodworking shop, hoping that they would be featured in the show. However, Norm refused to use any just because it came from an underwriter, or that it was the most expensive, only using those pieces that he knew were the best for a particular project. He was careful talking about those that he preferred, to avoid being seen as an endorser of a particular brand. According to an online dictionary, the word Normite was coined to mean one who worships Norm Abram, or that, like him, believes there's a power tool for every task. Norm has earned a reputation for using only power tools, not because that was the only way one could construct the furniture that he featured on the show, but it was just more convenient and time-saving to use them. However, there were projects from the show that required the use of hand tools, such as the Federal-style gaming table, for which he had to hand-cut the dovetails in building it. It was announced in 2009 that the much-loved series was closing its doors after 21 successful seasons. The decision was made by WBGH Boston and Morash Associates Incorporated. Many were at a loss as it had become a part of their lives, with Norm Abram as the go-to guy when it comes to building furniture. He's a perfectionist, so his careful attention to detail made each project seem doable, even for amateurs. No matter how difficult it actually was to make, he was such an engaging teacher that watching him was never boring. Norm took the audience through every step of the process of building furniture, with the ultimate goal of inspiring people to pick up the craft, learn about the tools, and work on wood. Speculation arose as to what and why it happened. However, back in 2005, Norm was candid in saying that everything has to have an endpoint. The show's creator also knew that, and was hoping that the woodworking shop would someday be in the Smithsonian National Museum of American History display, in the same way that Julia Child's kitchen is an exhibit there. Russell said in an interview that Norm would be focused on his personal projects. With his busy schedule, he had a lot of unfinished projects at home, and he was looking forward to doing just that. He would still be appearing in This Old House. For those wondering why Norm gave up his own show instead of the other one, in which he was just one of the industry professionals, he said that the new Yankee Workshop took up too much of his time, as he was the one doing all the work, so felt that it was time to step back. The website is accessible by future generations, so they can learn from Norm. One can order plans for a particular project, and then watch the videos to help in constructing the furniture or structure that was featured in the show. According to the producer, they didn't consider replacing Norm with someone else, as the show was tied to him, and comparisons between Norm and the new guy would be inevitable. He's also still open to the possibility that Norm may want to do it again. Norm was far from retiring as a carpenter, as he still wanted to continue building. All of the furniture that he built on the shop was inspired by items he saw at various locales, as he didn't believe that creating something he personally designed would make great TV. However, he would spend the following years trying to see if he could come up with some items that would have his own signature style. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpick these videos which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.